Hello and welcome to the live stream live. It's me, Joshua Schubart. How are you? I hope you're having a wonderful evening, afternoon, or morning, or sometime in the future if you're watching the replay. Whatever time or space or time zone you are watching or hearing this in, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. So let's get right into it. What am I watching? What am I reading? And how am I feeling? So let's start with what I'm watching. So I just finished Alien Earth. Anyone else watch that show? I personally love the Alien franchise, and I wasn't sure what to expect. I've spoken about it in the past couple of weeks, and how much I love it, and I still do. I love how season 1 ended. I hope we get a season 2. It was some of the coolest new alien creatures that I've seen come into the universe that watching humans interact with, seeing once again that the humans are the real monsters thing playing out in survival horror and in most horror and crazy sci-fi. I do love a good sci-fi. I love how you can talk about things that normally you aren't able to in crazy fantasy and amazing sci-fi, in horror and comic books. Things that are hyper fantastical are the spaces where you can have the most truthful conversations, and it's always been that way, and that's exactly the case here with Alien Earth. Watching the paradigm or the parallel of this awakening new species, which we can say is like the parallels between AI and what it could possibly become, was a wonderful, like, intriguing thought problem that had horrible consequences. And I hope that's not the case for us, where it's just horrible consequences because of this monster that we're potentially creating. What is that? Is horror suspense your favorite movie genre? I do love horror. It's my top 3 genres, I would say. I think what I just said are my top 3. It's like horror, science fiction, and fantasy, but I do like a rom-com. I will say, like a saucy, raunchy rom-com, like a Knocked Up or 4-Year-Old Virgin. We don't have those a lot anymore, and I do miss them, and they're a lot of fun. I know they're really problematic because a lot of the humor is very problematic, but we can make them without the problematic humor, right, everybody? I mean, I did write one that I may or may not be working towards getting made. Maybe. Anywho, yeah. So, and I also just watched American Primeval. Like, I know that came out like last year, but I'm trying to watch stuff while I'm working out. I don't have a lot of time. I'm a dad. I'm an actor. Blah. I'm a show. Blah 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 blah. So I'm just trying to like fit in a lot of stuff. And I thought American Primeval was chef's kiss. Like, just really, really good. Like, what's her? Betty Gulpin. Betty Kelpin. God, I'm sorry. I'm fucking your name up. But she was the lead in that, opposite Taylor Kitsch, and it was wonderful. Like, just, it was it's about the rise of the Mormons and about the pushing out of the indigenous people and traveling westward, and what do you do in order to survive in this time period, in this era. And it's It's great. It's well done, it's well shot, it's well acted, it's a great story, um, and it really shows the brutality of living in this time period, uh, which is which is great. I mean, it's not great, but you know what I mean, like, it's nice to see a thing that, like, isn't pulling any punches. Yeah. Um, as for what I'm feeling a whole lot of stuff. I'm sure everyone's feeling a whole lot of stuff, and I'm sure a lot of it might be fear and rage and uncertainty. Um, and I've gotten in on this mic and into the internet here, and I've been talking a lot about um, uh, patience and hope and perseverance and finding your communities and uh, things of that nature. I'm seeing a lot of troubling things on the internet, particularly from my fellow white folk. That when people are talking about specifically the things that are happening in with immigration or with Gaza or with anything of that nature, there are some folks here that are like, "Well, you're white, so this won't affect you, so you shouldn't care." And that's a ridiculous sentiment and a thing that doesn't make any sense to me. Um, Empathy and humanity and care are some of the basic tenets of a working civilization. Just because these people don't look like us or look like you or sound fucking differently or speak a different language does not mean that they are not just like you on a human level. Whether they are here without proper documentation or if they are or whatever, it does not fucking matter. I don't give one fuck about any of that. No one deserves to be ripped away from their families. Children don't deserve to be zip tied in hallways by people wearing masks with no badge numbers and no names. Um, it is becoming a very horrifying time to be living in this country, and it's strange because I don't see it, or at least not yet. I mean, I'm in New York. I'm assuming that they'll be coming here in force next. Um, we're being told that all of the major sanctuary cities will be getting a large number of ICE folks coming in to fuck everything up. I know it's happening in New York, but but certainly not as extreme and blatant as it's happening in other places like Chicago and now Portland with the National Guard and just everything is just upticking every day. It's just more intense and more heart wrenching and more frustrating and infuriating. Um, and I would just urge everybody to not look away. Don't shut down. The things that we can do are still the same. Write your elected officials, protest protest peacefully, get in the streets when things look like they're gonna go fucking crazy, leave. Get get out of the way and go fight another day. Um, don't get pepper sprayed in your mouth and face. Don't get beaten up. Don't lose your limbs or even possibly your life. Um, do what you need to do. Make your voice heard. Don't let people that will never see accountability win. Don't let them hurt you. Don't let them take your humanity. Whatever that looks like to you. However you can. Um, and that's what I've been feeling a lot as a father, as an American. It's a really weird time to be here, and I'm not even saying in like a political spectrum. I'm just saying in a general looking at how things are going spectrum. Uh, it's still scary. I do think it will get better. I do have hope. Maybe it's the maybe it's the artist in me. Um, but there is beauty in our country. There is beauty in everyone that I've ever met. Political, ideological differences and all and everything. Um, Once people can just start talking to each other in a way that makes sense when they're not screaming at each other, they're not screaming talking points at each other, they're not uh, radicalized by propaganda, when they can move away from it, I feel like we can get back to a place that makes more sense. I do. And that starts with locating your people in your community, banding together and pushing out with education. Um, and understanding and love. We gotta lead with love. Yeah. All right. So I got a question. Why isn't After on Netflix or YouTube? So After was not picked up by any of the major streamers. You can watch it on a indie streamer called IFT Network, or you can watch it on my Ko-fi, which is linked in my bio for $5, and you can watch the whole series. Um, yeah, I agree. We all need hope, and it's a thing that we can't lose sight of, because if we lose sight of hope, then um, the bastards win, as they say, as they say. Um, yeah, but things are going well. I'm in a show at the Metropolitan Opera right now that's killing it. It's called The Amazing Adventures of Cavalier and Clay. It's based off the novel. Uh, it is the talk of the town. It's getting very wonderfully reviewed. It's an original American piece. It's sang in English. We close on Saturday, unfortunately. So if you're in the New York metropolitan area and you can get a ticket, the last time to see it is on Saturday, and I highly recommend that you do. It is anti-fascist. It is queer as hell, um, and it's talking about things that most of the other New York stages are not talking about. There are Nazis and Jews escaping occupation, and it's about the creation of comic books during World War II, and about two Jewish men who create a superhero called the Escapist, and his whole thing is that he goes into occupied Nazi Germany and he frees Jews from captivity. It is a poignant, powerful piece, and one that is so shockingly reflective of what is happening in our country. Um, it is wonderful to be a part of it. It's wonderful to hear the reactions to it. Um, I do a lot of work. I've done a lot of things. Every once in a while, you get to be a part of something that I feel is moving the needle in the right direction, and this is one of those pieces. Yeah. Side question: do you perform stand up? I don't. It's a thing that I have admired. I've watched often. Um, I love it so much. I haven't given it a shot. I might one day, but I haven't yet. Okay, so here we go. We're gonna introduce my guest. So my guest for this evening's name is Amanda Marschall. I have known her for, God, it's been a long time. We have known her since like 2006, 2007 or something. Oh boy. We went to acting school together. We did a bunch of acting classes together. We were in some amazing shows together. And one of the things that I always remembered about Amanda was that she is an incredible, energetic person, someone who can truly lock in with you, listen, understand who you are, has an empathy set that I honestly had never seen before. It was a thing that made her personality infectious, and you wanted to be around her more than anything in the whole world. Um, and I'm so happy that she's said yes to coming on my show because we have a lot to talk about. She works for the Lego Corporation, and she's worked there for the past 15 years. And I love Lego, probably like it's like Lego, TV, film, acting, like fucking video games. Like it's up there with my top tier awesome shit. I used to play with that all the time, and I bought it for my kids so I could play with it again. Uh, but and also before we get started and before I bring her up, there is I guess like a trigger warning. We are going to talk a lot about fertility and fertility issues and women's reproductive health and uh, probably women's rights. So if that's a thing that makes you feel uncomfortable, feel free to watch the replay or leave. If not, then stay and let's have a conversation. Feel free to ask any questions or make any fucking comments that you want, and I'll be happy to ask them of Amanda as long as they are appropriate and not hypersexual, because some of y'all are freaky deaky, and that's fine. Just it's not for my show. And without further ado, here is Amanda Marschall. Hi.
Hello. What an intro. And I love
Boom.
that it was like the freaky deakiness that like really brought me in. I'm
It
into
brought you
it.
right in.
So amazing. Hi, Josh. How are you?
Hi. What's up?
You know, living life. I'll take a sip of water too. Hi, everyone.
Do it. Let's drink.
Our cups are very different. They show our different vibes. Like
Yes,
Lisa
there's
Frank
water in
and
here.
like, I'm sure mine too.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, there's a beer stein that my wife got me for one of my birthdays. It's pewter.
I love it.
It has a little shamrock on it because I'm Irish.
It's very badass. Like it is very what I would expect for you. It works perfectly.
Well, thank you.
Of course.
So hey.
Hi.
So we first met like I said in acting school at Stony Brook University.
In 2006. You were correct with the year. I know.
We're so young.
We're the youngest.
We're the youngest.
The youngest. We really are.
I saw your post before about wondering if you should get Botox.
Yes.
Did anyone answer you?
So, except for a couple other people who were the same. So, like, I'm 37 years old. I've never had Botox before. And I don't want to because I hear it's a slippery slope. And once you do it, you like really should keep doing it. But a couple of other women reached out to me after my post and they were like, I'm also wondering. So nobody told me to do it. Nobody told me not to do it. If anybody has any in your live stream feels like I really need it or I can, just let me know. But
so my sister is an aesthetics nurse. I'd be happy to put you into contact with her to ask any questions. Somebody just said, where?
Well, amazing. Who was that person? That's fantastic. Right here. It's like the eyes. I think it's more the eyes than anything. Like, but I'm just hypercritical. I'm hypercritical. I'm sure we'll talk about it. I'm going through menopause right now for many reasons. And that also has like messed with my skin. I have these dark spots I've never had before. My body is very different because of what I've been through. So that also, I think I'm still just trying to get in touch with what my body is now after, everything. So,
right. So let's start. Let's just
into it.
Yeah, I know you want to jump right in. And I do. Fuck it. Let's just jump right in.
No, whatever you want.
No,
whatever
I mean, that's just how the show goes. So, and I love it. So I do want to talk about you working for
let's do it.
Lego a bit, just because to me, it's one of the coolest things in the fucking world. And it seems like you agree. So what do you do for the Lego Corporation?
Yes. So I do think it's the coolest thing in the fucking world. I'm very lucky. I lead up a learning and development L&D team. So I am a senior manager of learning and development. I lead up so if you think about Lego and customer service, so if we have any Lego fans that are watching, if you have a missing brick or you need to buy something or something's going on, you call my department and my team. I have a team all over the world. We do all of the learning and development for those frontline advisors who are answering your contacts, which is really fantastic. So I do learning strategy. I do facilitation. I do training needs analysis, training evaluation, all of that fun stuff.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So here's the question. How has your acting training been applicable to this work?
in so many ways. And it's funny. So my husband, we're opposites, and he works for EY. So he does like IT audit. He's very like spreadsheets, and that's just, not theater at all. And when we started dating, he was like, you went to school for theater. Like that was just so wild. But one of the greatest compliments he ever told me, it was like how impressed he was that I was able to turn my theater background and the skills from theater into this really great corporate job. And I can tell you, like, super honestly, I'm able to bring something into the corporate world that most corporate people can't, because they don't have that background in theater, or they haven't taken an improv class. Or I stand in front of people and I talk, and whether that is us doing, Shakespeare or Bob Ross or whatever it is, I'm doing it in front of a group of a classroom. And I train adults. So I'm like a teacher for adults. And so I really have to adapt and feed off of an audience and build relationships and communication. And I'm part of a larger leadership team for the Lego group. And they often will be like, Amanda, we have a big conference. You go on stage and you rally the troops, because it's about presence and adaptability and communication and words and, being critiqued all the time. And after any of my trainings, I send an evaluation out, right? And that evaluation is, did you like my class? And did you feel safe in my class? And did you enjoy the energy I brought to your class? There's not many people in corporate America who have to send out a survey after everything they do.
No, it's true. I mean, you seem to have done a thing that is one of the most impossible things for most actors to do, and that is to apply your training to the business part of anything. Because one of the biggest parts of being a working actor is also understanding the business that you are in. And nobody is better at understanding someone else's business than an actor is.
So true. So true.
But for some reason, it's one of the hardest things for actors to do, is to understand their own. So it's you've harnessed the like superpower of performance and harnessed it for this work, which I think is very impressive.
Thank you. I have to also say, like, I had a lot of luck in it too, like a luck of timing, luck of, that's part of it. Like I started at an entry level job at the Lego group. So those people I now train, I used to be that person answering the contacts. Welcome to the Lego group. My name's Amanda. How can I help you? Like, here's your little brick separator or whatever it might be. But so I was able to work my way up, which was very great. And then the Lego group is such an amazing place to work, where they really foster talent, and they saw something in me and they were like, let's do this. So it is about finding a place where you can also be authentic, and I wish there were more companies out there, and maybe there is more than there was 15 years ago. But a place that's going to say, I like you, how you are, and let's just harness all the awesomeness that you have in what you're able to bring, and not try to make you into something else. And that was really helpful as well, because one of the reasons I love acting, which is funny because, right, acting is all about becoming somebody else. But one of the reasons I loved acting, and I loved theater people, and I loved theater school, is you can be your authentic self.
Sure.
And I was terrified of corporate. I really thought I was going to go to grad school for theater. I was just starting a job at Lego for a little bit until I went to grad school.
Just for a little while, I'm going to have this job, and then I'm going to leave for a little while.
I literally said to my
15 years
parents,
later.
Yeah, exactly. Have it. I said to my parents, like, if I'm here in 6 months, please kill me. Like, it was, not because I didn't like it, but because I thought I was giving up on the dream. And if I did not become a professional actor, I would have failed, 3-year-old, 5-year-old, 12-year-old, 20-year-old Amanda. But not just working at the Lego group, but like community theater is awesome. Like it's just awesome. And I've done some of my favorite roles in community theater here. So I was able to do it all, not all, but I was able to still fill my cup while feeling safe in the environment that I made.
We learned a lot of pretentious shit in school. Like,
yes.
So, and while, sure, but being in the industry for as long as I have, like performing and acting and whatever is what is it is just that no matter where it is, whether it's
Mm,
in your local community theater, if it's in front of
yes.
the Christmas tree at your fucking house, like,
Yes.
it doesn't matter. Like, if you're doing it and you love it, then you're doing it. It doesn't matter. And
Totally.
you got to parse out the pretentious bullshit that exists where it's like, well, if you're not doing Shakespeare at the Globe, then you're a garbage
Fuck
person.
off. Yeah.
And it's like most of us aren't going to do that because we're not English citizens. So we're not going to be doing Shakespeare at the Globe, or
Mm,
we may never do the public in the park. We may not do
yeah.
that. It's just, but I've done a lot of other amazing things.
Yes.
And so have you. Oh well, what is a big one? Queen, exactly. You had the talent and skill. Luck is not responsible for your success. You did it all. I love this. You're amazing. I love that comment. Fuck yeah.
Me too. Put it
Yeah.
on a plaque. I want to hung up in my office.
Hell
Like,
yeah. That's
please
fantastic.
print it out for me.
Yeah, I
I
will
need it.
get that for you.
I need
Um,
it.
that's
Amazing.
amazing.
That's
So
very sweet.
what is it? So are you? I won't ask you about any secrets, obviously, because you're not allowed to. But but are you on the like ground floor of like the new stuff that comes out?
I wish. I wish. I'm not on the ground floor at all. It's so impressive. I wish I could share all the secrets because it's so cool. Like how much you love Lego, you would love it even more if you knew like all the cool things behind it. I do. My team does train people on new products, so I get to know it a little bit earlier than some people. We get to do like cool previews and stuff. But my team is in charge of making sure if you were to call about the new Death Star set that was just released and shared a little while ago, that they can answer your questions about it and they can geek out over it. That's also why I love what I do. Is you think about customer service, most people don't ever want to contact customer service for many reasons.
Right.
The Lego group is so great about being like, yeah, fix their problem, solve their problem, but also build a relationship with them, because the majority of people working at the Lego group are nerdy and geeky and love it all. And we'll sit there and talk about, Jar Jar Binks and what he did to that industry as much as we want, and geek out over it. Like, as a theater girly, the new Wicked sets, I
Yeah.
like am geeking out over the new Wicked sets. And so I don't have it on the ground floor, unfortunately,
That's
but
okay.
I do get little bits and pieces, and I have some cool like Lego bricks that nobody else has. And I definitely have some really cool things that just any true Lego fan would geek out over.
That's really cool. That's
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah. I
All
don't know
right.
if you probably can't see. I'm
Ooh, let
going
me
to
see.
do a
Let
little
me see.
show. So wait, hold on. One
Okay.
sec. You're going to love it. It's going to be worth it. I promise.
Okay. So hello everyone. While we wait for Amanda to bring. Oh wow.
So as a Lego employee, when I made 10 years, I
Yeah.
got this little guard, and it says like I'm one of the guardians of the Lego world.
Oh
And
my
he
gosh.
so you get these kind of cool things. So
That's
I might
so
not know
cool.
like the newest set, but I have my little guy here.
Oh man, that's so
I'll keep him
awesome.
right here. Yeah,
God, that's so fun. That's so fun.
it is. It is.
They're not an American company, right?
No, they're a Danish company. So
Yeah, that's why they're cool.
that's
Yeah.
in so
Yeah.
many ways. Like I, popping into like the fertility rates and the female rates and all of that. Like I
Yeah.
talk to other women who work for more American companies or whatever. And when they hear that, like all of my IVF was paid for by my company, and that I, spoiler alert, I'm in the middle of like waiting on adoption. And when we get picked one day, I will get full maternity benefits and like all of these cool things. And that's very much, yes, the US has something to do with that. Like the leadership in the US has something to do with
Yes.
that. But that is because we have a lovely Danish
Yeah.
headquarters, and it's also family owned. So there's no board, there's no state, like it's all still in the family
You
owned, which
see,
is really
you
cool.
fucking see. That's why. It's like Lego,
Yeah.
Arizona iced tea.
Yes.
It's like all these
They're not
places
answering to anybody but
they're not
them
answering
and their
anybody.
values. Exactly. Yeah.
Fucking Christ.
I know.
It's what's happening to the entertainment industry is like everyone's got a board or a bank or some other
Ugh.
bullshit that they have to answer to, and it's why it's just all like, let's make a million Marvel movies. That's like it's
Right. Oh God. Yes. Yes.
that's just like what it is. But
Yeah.
so you were just talking about your IVF treatments. My wife and I had to use the fertility clinic also,
Mhm.
and it's a thing that we as of people don't talk about as much as it should be. I
Yes.
mean, women's reproductive health is a thing that is just now beginning to be studied, um, and which is wild. It's
Yeah.
2025. But you had a very harrowing journey through your fertility time,
Mm.
and I thank you in advance for walking us through it.
Yeah.
But um, why don't we start? So how many rounds of IVF did you go through?
We went through 2 rounds of IVF, would have done a lot more, but then things happened, which, I got diagnosed with a stage 0 ovarian cancer.
Right.
But we went through 2 rounds of IVF, both failed. So we had an egg retrieval that brought out, we ended up with 5 embryos from that egg retrieval that were viable, 3 that were what we would consider like PGT. It's basically meaning that we got them genetically tested, because a lot of people don't realize that sometimes like miscarriage and stuff actually happens because the embryo wasn't healthy. Like I could go on so many tangents about this, because I just don't think we set up not just women, but couples, no matter how they identify, any couple that wants to reproduce, we do not set them up with the knowledge to truly understand what they're getting into and the risks and what those risks cause. But so we genetically tested our embryos. We were able to we had 4 embryos that were normal,
Viable,
which
yeah.
meant that they would be healthy enough. And then one of those, when you go through genetic testing or when you go through your transfers, they freeze. You freeze them, and then you have to thaw them out. At least in my case, some people do fresh transfers, but I was doing frozen transfers. One of our embryos didn't survive the thaw, so we went to thaw it out, and it didn't survive. All of that is to say, we had 3 embryos that we could use, 2 of which were unsuccessful transfers, heartbreaking, awful. We were planning on doing another egg retrieval because I wanted to get more eggs, and because we are so fortunate that the Lego Group and their benefits paid for so much of this.
That's a
We
huge
could
deal.
afford
It's wildly expensive. Like it gets up to like $40,000 like a time.
a cycle. And
Yeah,
like a cycle is just one time. Exactly. Like
yeah.
Tony and I were very lucky that we never had to have the conversation of like, can we afford this?
Yes.
Because we couldn't if we did not have those beautiful benefits.
So for the people that don't
Yeah.
know, right? Can you walk us through the beginning and end of a cycle?
Absolutely.
Because what people don't know is that for the woman it is brutally intense.
Yeah.
So go.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think, and the disclaimer to this is that every fertility story is different. So
Yeah.
this was very specific to me and my issues, and my issues were very much my issues. I had some massive things on my ovaries that were making it difficult. But beginning, middle, and end of a cycle is that you want to become real good friends with your fertility doctor, because you're going to see them a lot. My doctor was great. And you go every morning essentially, or like every other morning, and they start with doing internal ultrasounds. And it wasn't until very recently that I realized that most women have never had to go through an internal ultrasound before.
Yeah,
But
which is a wand, right? It's
it's
basically
a
like a
wand.
wand that they put up you.
Yeah, it sounds very sexual, and it is the most painful, uncomfortable thing ever. But they put up a wand inside of you so they can start looking at your ovaries, your fallopian tubes, all of that. And you've done a lot of testing to figure out what could possibly be happening. So the first round is your egg retrieval. And that is what they're going to do is feed your body with hormones. So you are taking shots at the same time every night for a period of time. So they're feeding like hormones into your body, because what they're trying to do is artificially grow essentially a bunch of follicles on your ovaries, and your follicles are what produce eggs.
So you administer it at home by yourself, right?
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. I'm sure did you and your wife do the same? We were doing
IUI. So
so we had a different journey.
Yeah. We didn't we went through some injections. It was a lot of internal sonograms. It was hell on her.
Of course.
And it was I just had to like sperm in a cup, like That's
Which is
like
still awkward. It's
no,
like,
it's yes.
you know,
I have really funny stories about it, but it's comical. Like I was embarrassed. Like it's
no.
not the same thing.
I remember going into my egg retrieval and like so you do all of these hormones. Literally, I remember the first time the nurse was telling me what to do and I blacked out because I was like, I have a theater arts degree and you want me to pull up my own vial of hormones, put them in every single day, do it correctly, use these, like you're bringing home this hospital kit to do all of this stuff by yourself. And
Yeah,
guess what? If you do it wrong, it's going to fuck up the whole
yeah, it
thing
fucks the whole thing up.
and you're not going to have a transfer. You're going to lose your money if you're one of those who are having to pay. You're losing your time and you're losing your soul and your heart and your hope.
Right.
So you do all of that, and that's just for the egg retrieval. And every day you're essentially going in. My fertility clinic was about 15 minutes away. I had to be there for 7 a.m. every day. I would go in 7 a.m. They're wanding you. You're hurting. They're counting your follicles. They're also making sure like your uterus is looking okay. You're praying that nothing looks off because
Yeah.
I was lucky enough during my egg retrieval that everything looked good and I could go forward with an egg retrieval. So many women go in there and they're not growing the follicles, or they only have one follicle and they're looking for 15, so you pray everything's okay. And then if you're me, which a lot of women are, you're hopping in a car and you're putting your headphones in and you're about to dial into your first meeting of the day after
Yeah.
being violated, or after somebody just telling you, hey, you're actually not doing what we want you to do. So we have to change everything around and this isn't going to work this time around. And you're like,
Right. And you just have to pretend that none of that happened to you. You've got
yeah,
to like push out all of the like your
everything.
whole yeah.
And I am an open book with this stuff. And I luckily work with an amazing boss, an amazing team. Like they were very willing to hear my story and I was very willing to tell it. I don't fault anybody who doesn't. It is such a private thing. We're not going in every day being like, oh, my husband and I just banged because we're trying to get a kid,
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
I don't expect people to want to do that. Because I was open with it, I could say I'm going to miss this meeting or whatever, but most people can't. So yeah, you're hopping in. I'm driving an hour to the office, calling in, and I'm thinking about all just what happened. But anyways, you then, once they say you're good, they do what you call a trigger shot. And you get a phone call and it is telling you at 11:52 tonight, like it's that specific, you are going to take your trigger shot. And what that is doing, it is triggering your follicles to produce as many eggs as possible.
Yeah.
Exactly. And if you fuck that up, yeah, good luck. Like you have to have it.
Why do they put it on you? Like it's so insane. They're like, "Hey, you're not a medical professional.
Not at
You
all.
have to do all this stuff. If you fuck it up, you're fucked."
You're
But
fucked.
yeah, but good luck.
But
Well,
good luck. And then when you call and you're like stressing out because they, I don't blame them at all. They do it all the time. So they're sitting there and just like, you just fill it up. You just fill it up. It's fine. It's like, what are you talking about?
yeah.
It is insane. But then you have a surgery. Like I didn't know any of this before I was going through it. I just knew IVF meant you were going to have a baby, which spoiler, it's not always that case.
It's not always that way, yeah.
But then you go through surgery. You have anesthesia. Like you literally go under and because it's so painful for the woman, and they extract as many eggs as they can.
Well,
So
yeah,
going back to
they're fucking harvesting eggs out of your ovaries with like
yes.
a knife in their hand or whatever. They're like, "What?" Well,
Uh-huh.
it's not their hand, but like, yeah, they're
They're
just like, "Gimme
taking
that,
it.
give me that."
Yep.
Yeah,
This one.
yeah,
And like the biological clock is a real thing. As you get older, there's less eggs, there's less healthy eggs.
right.
But like I remember getting wheeled into surgery and my husband Tony was like, "Oh my God, I have to go jizz in a cup." I was like, Are you kidding me? I'm in a hairnet right now. And it was like, it was post-COVID. So he couldn't be in there with me. And a lot of times
Right.
people could, like, there's just all of that. So then you find out right in the spot how many eggs they got. And I was lucky enough that they got 20 eggs, which was like wonderful.
Yeah.
But then what people don't also realize is that they then take those eggs, they then need to fertilize them with the sperm. And then, so after that, they fertilize and you see how many you have fertilized. And then you see how many mature. So you're going to lose eggs from you getting them. Then they mature, you lose eggs. Mature to fertilize, you lose even more. And then they have what they call the day 5 blastocyst. I don't know the science behind it, but it's basically making sure those fertilized eggs become an embryo.
Yeah.
I went from 20 eggs to 5 embryos. Like, and that was a success story.
That's wild.
There are women who go through 20 eggs and get nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And then what happens is you have those embryos, and then we decided to do the extra step, which is that genetic testing. And then that 5 became the 3. And then that's what you got. And that's just the egg retrieval part. And then from there, everything is off of your period. They monitor you. You call them on your first day of your period. You start that whole cycle again, different hormones, but you're still going in. You're doing blood work now because they're checking your hormones. They're making sure your uterus is getting really, really thick so they can then take that embryo, implant it in you, and hope that it's pregnant. And then you have a 2-week wait, which is the longest week, 2 weeks ever, from the day of the transfer until the day you can take your blood pregnancy test. And then you do your 2-week wait. Then you wait for a phone call and you hope it's a good one. And when it's not, it sucks.
Yeah, I mean, like the 2-week thing is fucking crazy. Just because that's what we went through twice.
Yeah.
And it's like they call you and they're like, you're pregnant. Don't get excited.
Yes.
But you are, and well, it could be nothing. It could just be what they call a chemical pregnancy, which is like one of the stupidest things I've ever heard. Like, just don't tell them yet. Like, totally hey, it could just be a bunch of weird hormones, so don't get excited. But what you should do now is take a bunch of progesterone and just squirt it up your vagina.
Oh God, those were the worst.
And then hope that it stays.
Yeah, it was like putting like suppositories up. My first transfer, and we never got a positive pregnancy test, but we had to do that leading up to transfer, the progesterone tablets. And we were in Seattle on vacation because life doesn't change, or, it's very hard to change your life plans when you're going through, because I started IVF and I didn't get cleared for my first embryo transfer until 5 months after we started, because there were problems. So I had polyps in my uterus. I had to have a surgery for that. I had borderline tumors on my ovaries. I had to have a surgery for that. Like, I had to do all these surgeries before I even got approved. So you can't put your life on hold, or you could, but we chose not to. So I'm in the freaking, the tower in Seattle. I forget what it's called, but what is it? The Space Needle. I'm at the top of the Space Needle trying to put progesterone tablets up my vag, being like, I hope I'm pregnant. I hope I'm pregnant. Like,
oh man,
wild what we're doing.
Yeah.
I think we never had a positive pregnancy test, but I have been told by other people, it's not even something you can really celebrate because it's so early on, and then you're still going to doctor's offices. They're still checking your levels.
Yeah.
And a lot of times,
you if you're honestly wait in fear
I can't imagine.
For months. It's harrowing and strange, and it's a thing that like most people, like most people don't know until like week 6 or 8 even. So it's like, so you have all this time where it's like, I could have been getting drunk if this was normal, I
know. And there's so many people who do. Yeah. I really appreciate you being willing to talk about it and being willing to like stream about it as well, because I really believe that the more people know, the more that the culture will shift a little bit. I really like talking about fertility. And one day I'd like to say, like, when I get my life together, I really want to be an advocate for teaching humans a lot earlier on. So like, I think sex ed is a joke. I think the idea that we were basically told the moment you have unprotected sex is the moment you get pregnant.
No, it's extremely hard to get pregnant.
It's extremely hard. Yeah. Whether it is like, take IVF, IUI, take fertility problems out of it, it is still extreme. You get like 3 days, and that's only if you're lucky. And it's
and you have to do it at the right time. You have to be the right temperature. Like, it's all this shit.
Right. You can still get pregnant by accident. Like, that's still a thing. But for most humans,
but it's dumb luck.
It's dumb fucking luck. I would be so lucky. Bring me back to 2006, Amanda, and be like, girl, have fun, because it's going to be impossible for you. So go and have fun, but it's a lot, and we're just not doing justice to what it actually is. There's a reason why you have to wait a year before a fertility clinic will see you. You have to tell them that you have been trying for a year, not just like, having sex without a condom. Like, we have been trying for a year before they will even consider having an appointment. It's because it's not easy, and it should take a year. for it to happen.
Yeah. We tried for 4 years, and it was the
Wow.
most frustrating,
I can't
brutal.
imagine.
So like people, so when you're trying like naturally, people are like, oh, it's great, just the fuck all the time, and it's like, do you know how awful it is to have sex all of the time?
It's
Like,
yes.
have to, like,
Yes.
it leaves the realm of like, oh, this is fun, to like, this is work now.
Mm-hmm.
And like it robs a lot of people of their relationships, because they just
Mm-hmm.
lose romance, they lose the, because it becomes this like, I have to fuck you now,
Yeah.
I have to do it in the morning and I have to do it at night.
And let's make it as fast as possible.
Yeah,
Because we're not going to enjoy it. It now has this pressure on it. I'm going to feel guilty if I don't, because I think people who go through this are people who want, like, I want to be a mom so badly. I think it would be very easy for people to just be like, then don't do it. Like, if
yeah,
it's not difficult, don't do it. I wish I didn't want this as badly as I do, because I can tell you right now, like, the grief, the trauma, the everything would be like, I'm going to get emotional. I wish I didn't want this,
yeah,
but I do. And I'm allowed to want this. And I'm allowed to use the sources that are out there for me to want this. And I'm also allowed to complain about it. And I'm allowed to
sure,
say that it sucks to have to be forced to have sex. And it's not forced, right? But like, to be able to sit there and be like, I'm tired, you're tired, we just got into a fight, it hasn't worked the last 3 years that we've been trying, but let's do it again, and maybe this is the time. Like,
yeah,
it's really hard. And I'm sure it's the same for you and your wife. Like, do they know your wife's name? Am I allowed to say her name?
yeah, you can say Courtney, it's
Okay,
fine.
thank you. Sorry.
Yeah,
I didn't want to
yeah,
like put
they
her
know
identity
who
out
she is.
there.
Yeah.
They know. Hey, Courtney.
Yeah,
But I'm sure it was the same for you and Courtney. Tony and I ended up having conversations that I think most married couples will never have in their entire life and
oh
their
yeah,
entire relationship,
oh
and
yeah,
had to have real, honest, true conversations about what our life was going to be. That only made us stronger. But I also understand why relationships don't survive this. I really do.
yeah. I remember we got a weird uh genetic marker back with
Mm.
our youngest, and it was a really weird one that like the brain explodes when they're born, like some like crazy shit. Because what they do now, because of there's like a medical transparency bill that was like passed, which is great, but it also means that you get emailed to you everything from your like testing before the doctor gets it, and
Yes.
then you look at it and then you're like, what's that mean? And then you Google it and it's like, oh, my baby's nervous system is going to be born on the outside of their body, and they're going to scream themselves to death for 30 minutes and then they're going to die.
Oh my
So
God.
I'm literally in like a period costume, like at a in back fucking stage of a show that I'm in dress rehearsal for. And she FaceTimes me and like she's like, I looked up what this thing is. You need to
No,
look it up. We need to talk about. We're like like
of
just
course.
crying, like full, like it's like just preparing ourselves, like, well, I guess we have to get an abortion, we have to get an abortion
Hmm.
now, just because like there's no way that we can take this pregnancy to term if the baby's just gonna scream for 30 minutes and die, like,
Correct.
like. And then
Correct.
like she's emergency calling the gynecologist, all this stuff. Like, I was like, you have to tell me right now if I have to come home, like, like I have to get out of this
You're in your
fucking like
period costume.
prison of a period costume, like ridiculous. Now like hearing the fucking story, and it turns out that it was a very like one in however the fuck many like chance, but it was there because it was part of her like hereditary history. But the thing that that the email you doesn't say like, oh, it's a 1 in 52
Nope.
billion like they're just like, your kid's head's going to explode when they're born, and then you
Have
just
fun
like
with that.
explode, you just freak the fuck
And
out.
pray that you live in a state that allows you to make the decisions you want to make
Yeah,
with that
yes,
reality. Just pray.
yes, we'll get there. But
Yeah.
so
Yeah. No.
so you found out that you had
Yeah.
ovarian cancer.
Yeah. So when I went in for this other egg retrieval, because I was like, hey, we're so lucky we can do as many cycles. So a cycle is, like we were talking about, from the beginning to the end. And most insurance companies, if they do cover it, which is amazing, will only cover 1, maybe 2 cycles a year. So that's another thing that most couples who are dealing with infertility have to talk about, of like, we only get 1 cycle. So when are we going to do it? And
Right.
if that doesn't work, are we waiting? I was
where does it
fortunate.
fit into our time schedule?
Where does it fit into our time
Yeah.
schedule? And we just got to hope that it works, because as we just talked about, there's so many things that could go wrong in a cycle. And it's kind of like, well, fuck that. That sucks. It went wrong, but you used yours up already. But my amazing benefits at my amazing company allowed me as unlimited cycles, like so much so that the fertility clinic was like, we never see this. This is amazing.
Yeah.
So because of that, I was like, let's get another egg retrieval in. That was the only thing that worked the first time. We had a great egg retrieval. And before we were going through the egg retrieval, in one of those transvaginal ultrasounds, they found a little thing on my ovaries. Now, without like boring everybody, I had ovary problems for a while. I had to have a big surgery. I had these like grapefruit size borderline tumors on both of my ovaries before I even started IVF. So it was something we were monitoring. My oncologist was nervous and was just like, let's just take it out. And because they're not going to want to stimulate your ovaries, which is what they do during IVF, if there's something there that could be triggering. Thought it was just going to be a normal surgery. At that point, I had so many of them in, out, we're good to go. And I remember waking up from anesthesia, and my doctor just had a face that I hadn't seen from her before. And she took out my medical pictures, and my left ovary was covered in tumors. And this is like maybe 3 months from my last surgery to this surgery, like covered in these little tumors. And medical pictures on my Instagram, if anybody ever wants to look. But she had to, during the surgery, she had to call my husband and say, I think we should take her ovary. Are you okay with us taking her ovary? And my poor husband, who's sitting there like freaking out, had to say, please take her ovary.
Oh, man.
And yeah, so I woke up finding my left ovary was gone, finding that it was completely encompassed in tumors. I had a couple other tumors, and my future was going to be very different. And this was a couple of days before Christmas, and then got the call a couple of days after Christmas of 2023. And I got diagnosed with a stage 0 ovarian cancer. So this is like the best case scenario. Ovarian cancer is called the whisper killer, because most women, just the symptoms you get with ovarian cancer mimic normal female pains.
Normal female pain. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm very lucky. I did not have to go through any type of chemo or anything. I just had a full hysterectomy. I went and had another surgery a couple months ago because I found a couple other tumors that popped up. Those were classified as borderline, which was nice. So I always say infertility saved my life.
Yeah, because you wouldn't have known.
Not at all. If I wasn't getting monitored as much as I was because I was trying to have a baby, they never, ever would have known. And it would have been growing inside of me, and it would have killed me. One of the things my oncologist said when we were talking about it was like, I can't let you try to get pregnant anymore, because you will not be around for your child if you do. And I was like, okay, there you go.
Did the hormones that you were taking accelerate it?
Such a good question, Josh. And this was also something that was really frustrating. There's not a lot of research. Shocking, right? There's not.
Wow.
So like, crazy. Are we shocked or what? That female health research doesn't exist, especially around fertility. For a country and for a world that feels so strongly about women needing to reproduce, they do very little to make sure that woman is healthy while she's reproducing.
Yes.
So it could have. And that was something that my oncologist and my fertility doctors really wanted me to make clear of. There's no definitive research that says, yes, stimulating your ovaries with these hormones could cause cancer.
Okay.
But there's also nothing that says it couldn't. And they use common sense that said, if this girl is having these like tumors pop up on her ovaries, it's probably not going to be smart. And, I could have sat there and said, no, give me one more round. And they probably would have been like, no, you're crazy. But yeah, it's a really good question. And it very well could have. It very well could have. But there's no massive research to tell us either way.
How fun.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, there is a lot of talk about how, like, we want people to have babies here in our country, and there's no support in any capacity in
No.
the beginning, middle, or even afterwards. And it's being slowly ripped away,
Mm,
um, very, very systematically.
yeah.
Um, and we're one of the only like first world countries that does this.
Yeah. It's, and you say slowly, and and maybe because I'm just like in the thick of it, it feels pretty fast of how it's getting
No, it
ripped
is.
away,
It's
like
very fast, but
it's
it's
like bit by
very
bit, right?
methodical. It's piece by
Yeah.
piece, like tearing it, like saying, like we're gonna, we're gonna fund IVF for everybody, and it's like actually we're not going to, and we're also gonna take away healthcare, and you can't go on maternity leave, and there's nowhere for and there's nobody to watch your kids, and daycare is prohibitively expensive, and like just
Hmm.
and but you need to get back to work like the second that you give birth. Like it's all
And God
ridiculous.
forbid you're going through like postpartum or something when you come back to work, because there's not going to be anything there to help you through all of that. And you're going right back to the grind, and going back to like your whole genetic testing thing. We say that we're, as a country and a society, we're like so pro-life that that's what we have to do. But we're okay with a baby being born with a horrible genetic thing that is only going to make them die the most sufferable death so quickly. But
Right.
we're going to force you to make that happen to that poor little innocent soul that we're also so concerned about before and during. It's so messed up. And as much as my story has like broken me in many many ways, I
Yeah.
also feel, I don't know if like privileged is the word, but I also feel really proud that I know this reality and that I've survived this reality. And I don't fault anybody who hasn't gone through this not understanding it. I hope people don't understand it, because it's so hard. But it's part of the reason why I like to be so open about it, because I feel like the groupings of us who do know about it, I feel almost like a sense of responsibility to ensure that people understand that there's also this that's happening to women's rights. It's not only abortion, it's also about fertility and what happens after you have a baby. If you're lucky enough, my husband and I are deep in the adoption world. That's a whole crazy mess as well. And how
Yeah,
like
I'm sure. Yeah.
how for profit the adoption world is.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's it's just wild to me that it's all about the babies and it's all about the children until it's not. And
Well, it's not because it's a political
mhm,
fucking bludgeon for people to use, and also to create misunderstanding in a
yes.
way that is brutally horrible. Like it just
Yeah.
it the I've seen people who these changes are going to deeply affect, or just things that they'll lose access to, like just Planned Parenthood doing their pap smears not being around anymore is a huge problem. Like it's huge.
Terrifying. It's, again, I would have, if it wasn't for my fertility treatments, I would have lost my life to ovarian
Yeah,
cancer.
you would have
If it
been dead.
wasn't for pap smears, if it's not for like this, we're not, people think of things like OBGYNs or Planned Parenthood as it's all about babies. It's all about sexually transmitted diseases. It's all about that. Like, no, it's
Mm-mm.
female health. It is a part of our body, a wildly important part of our body, not just to make babies, but also to just keep us alive.
Right.
And the other thing with my hysterectomy is like I said at the beginning, I'm going through menopause. And that's another thing that my ovaries and my uterus and my fallopian tubes and my cervix made sure that the right hormones were being pumped into my body. And like, full stop. So when they're not, I'm also now going through some stuff. So to say Planned Parenthood is just there so, a 16-year-old doesn't have sex, like it's just wild. It's so ignorant, and I think it's just infuriating.
Well, also, like if you're going through hormone therapy, or if you were, um, making it harder for people to get access to hormone therapy is also dumb as fuck also, because there are
Yes,
people that need hormone therapy for a myriad of reasons other than
correct.
just transitioning. Like,
A, 1,000%. I'm not able to go through hormone therapy because hormones would spike the cancer. That is like,
oh
I'm
damn.
now, yeah. So, so yeah, because pumping hormones kind of goes back to your great question around could the IVF have caused anything? Hormones are not great for female cancers. So I cannot go through hormone replacement therapy in any way, shape, or form because it's a really good chance. Even though I don't have a uterus or anything like that or ovaries, I could still get ovarian cancer clusters in other spots. They're also very concerned about my breasts. Female cancers in general all kind of spark off of the same genes. So just to keep me safe, I can't. But there's like medication that I can get that is so hard to get because insurance doesn't want to bring it through. Like there's so many problems. But going back to what you said, yes, hormone replacements are so much more than just one thing. And I think it's just easy to focus on the one thing that makes you feel uncomfortable and pretend all the other stuff doesn't exist. And we're going to make this the villain right here. But it's okay. You know, my mom needs it. That's fine. But this stranger over here needs it. No, thank you.
Right.
Like, what are we doing?
It's how basic and ridiculous things have been boiled down to make hate digestible.
Yes.
Palatable to people so that they can be like, they're not talking about that.
Yeah.
They're talking about this. It's like, no, but you can't politicize people because it's people, you know, like you can politicize like where do you want to put that highway, right? Or like what are you going to do with this water source or this farmland, or what are you going to use these like tax fucking dollars for? You know, like if we could please just take the people out of the politics and just let people live and leave them the fuck alone, we would get so much further as a country. We would innovate, we would educate, we would be incredible.
Yes.
Instead of this bullshit.
It's absolutely wild. I preach to everything you just said. The idea that my body, your body, my life, like the fact that our bodies are on trial here in this world is just insane. And like, you know, when Roe v. Wade was overturned, all women, and I would hope that all men that love women or all female presenting, like everybody kind of had a moment. One of the things my husband and I immediately thought of with that was what's going to happen to our embryos, because you know, so we have embryos on ice. Like, I can't get pregnant, but I still have one embryo on ice just because it's really hard to get. I don't think of that as a child. It's a ball of cells, but it's still a part of me and it's still, you know, it represents something. But anyways, when Roe v. Wade got overturned, there was this whole conversation of are embryos children? And are the discarding of embryos, is that now considered an abortion? Because my embryos are sitting on ice. I pay $100 a month for it to sit on ice. And if somebody was to ever consider that a child, which it isn't, if anybody was ever to consider that a child, I now would either have to continue to pay $100 a month to make sure it stays on ice, or donate it, which that should be my choice if I want to donate my embryo or not. Or if I could implant it just for fucks, just because, you know, and I just have one embryo. There's people over there who have, you know, 10 embryos sitting on ice. So it's these items that are overturned or that are decided that people think mean one thing. Yes, it could mean that one thing. It also spiders out into 8 million different ways that people don't want to put the energy into understanding because it doesn't affect them.
Right.
And that's what happens when you politicize people, because we're all different. We're all on different journeys. We all have different stories and nobody wants to put the time into learning all of ours. I get it. But then you can't just police one part of us. It becomes real messy, real quick.
Yeah. And you also can't impose your belief system on others either. So, you can believe whatever it is that you want to believe as long as it doesn't impinge on my freedoms or on my rights. I don't care what you believe. You can believe that, you know, there's a flying spaghetti monster or whatever the fuck. And I'll totally support you and I'll be like, sick, do it. That's for you. Unless you say that I'm not allowed to be here anymore or some other crazy shit. Trying to make laws about the thing that you believe, when we should be making laws about things that are the truth and backed by science and backed by the greater good of our humanity. Uh,
I think it's such a good point, right? Like I was really clear with saying, like, I do not think my embryos are children. If you think your embryos are children and you want to make sure that they stay intact forever, awesome. I'm not like, please do.
right.
But the moment we're putting a law on something that's making you decide one way or the other based off of whatever that person in charge thinks we should do, that's where it gets real messy. As long as we're not hurting anybody, like let it, it's we're just putting our energy into the silly things that is just is crazy,
Well,
crazy.
because it boils down to control, yeah?
Totally. Yes.
No, I don't have any body legislation on me as a man. No
No
one's saying
way.
that. That's weird. I mean, maybe now I'll get autism because I was circumcised according to RFK, but,
And your
um,
mom probably had some Tylenol, and God
yeah, I
forbid,
mean, I
so here we
took
go.
some does it, like, retroactively give me autism? But,
I think so.
yeah, so, um, but that's still not legislation, right? But, like, also, like, what about the like, women that are autistic? They don't get whatever. Like, but it's why are we legislating one sex over the other? And I know why. It's a
Yeah.
rhetorical question,
Yeah.
but it's very disturbing, and it's not just here. It's a multicultural um like uh mission to oppress women and keep them down and keep them in the kitchen and have them make you pies and stuff. If you're into that, cool. But
Well,
almost everyone that I know, even the ones that are like, I want to be in the kitchen making pies, they still want to have autonomy. It's not,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. 1,000%. And I feel, again, it goes back into I live a very privileged life and I surround myself with people who believe similar things to me or who like believe that I have rights and that I, as a woman, am powerful and great and all of that. Like I'm very lucky in that case. But going through something like infertility and then something like a female cancer really just made it very, I think about things or I read things or I get hit by things differently than if I didn't go through that.
yeah.
So I'm like very aware that my experience also gets brought into this, but that's also where it gets tricky. If we're trying to politicize people, it could change on a dime based off of these experiences that we lead every day because being a human is hard. And each day something's going to come up that's going to make us think something possibly different or just put our boots in the sand even further around what we thought before based off of what's coming at us.
Have you and your husband considered trying surrogacy with the embryos that you currently have?
Yeah, so we did try. It did not work out. That was a wild, we, when I had my hysterectomy, not that we feel really strongly about like having a biological child. That wasn't what it was about, but it was about like, oh, it would be cool to have a biological child. And we still had an embryo
Mm,
that we needed to decide what to do with. And it felt, as silly as it may sound, like it felt really weird to get rid of that embryo or like it just, so we did. And we were privileged enough that we were able to explore that. I think it's a gift. I think surrogacy is a beautiful gift, but it is so complex. It is so expensive. It is so
mm.
many ins and outs. I believe in it. I think it's a wonderful thing. We ended up having a surrogate and then before we got to the transfer, some things went down that had to do with like medications and Tony ended up getting tested for this weird like antibody that our surrogate didn't have. Like a bunch of stuff just happened right before transfer was supposed to happen that made it all disappear. And
Oh, okay.
quite, and I think we both took that as a sign, whatever that might mean, that like, let's take a step back. And we just took a break. And that was the first time we had taken a break since we started trying in 2020. And that was in 2024 that we took a break. It was September of 2024, just around a year ago. And we were just like, we just got to stop. We got to stop. We're making decisions now just to make decisions. I was unwell. Like the failed surrogacy broke me.
Yeah.
And we took a break and we were like, let's discuss later. And I really then went into 2025 with an intention of healing myself, both physically and mentally. And that's been wonderful. And then with that new clarity, we both decided that surrogacy was no longer the option that we wanted to go with. And we talked really long and hard about adoption and learned a lot about it. And that's the pathway that we decided to go on. But yes, we did explore surrogacy.
And that's a thing that I think needs to be spoken about more too, is that with any type of fertility time, whether it's natural or you use a clinic or whatever, it is incredibly mentally taxing and emotionally draining. You and your partner are going through some of the most like intense peaks and valleys when it comes to either your emotional life. You're arguing about shit that doesn't make any sense. Like you're in this like disturbing fight about a spoon and you don't know why, just like crazy shit like that. And there's almost no grace, like people around you are like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And like, especially when you're on you're on the hormones, like your mind is like a fucking like catastrophe.
Yeah.
And it's a thing that no one even preps you about when you're like they're like, you're just gonna take this stuff and then you'll maybe have a baby. They don't say like, you're gonna start to believe stuff that you never fucking thought about in your life.
Nope. No. Yeah. And like, yes, they don't prepare you for that at all. I don't know about for you with like your situation. We had to sit through like hours of horribly done e-learnings to teach us about like what pills you're taking and what you need to do here and there. But nobody's talking about like, also, this is going to be the hardest thing that you've ever gone through personally and as a couple. And also your friendships are going to get tested. I've lost friendships through this because I couldn't show up for them or they couldn't show up for me. Or I have friends that really understandably so identify themselves as a parent and didn't know how to be my friend when that's all I wanted to be and couldn't, or I was too much of a downer and like, you can't come on the trip anymore. Like these types of things. So you lose friendships. And then it's also like,
that's fucked up.
So fucked up. I mean, it's like, I like to think of myself as sunshine and bubbly and fun and like awesome. And then when that had to change because I was going through some of the hardest shits in my life, some friends just didn't know who I was or like wouldn't accept me in that moment or couldn't meet me where I was at, which, okay, fine. There's a friend, there's a season for everything. And this season is not for everybody, I guess. But also it's something.
Or fuck them. Like,
fuck
them. Like, what do you mean?
Thank you.
No, but like, sure, that was very kind of you, Amanda. But like, fuck them forever. Like, oh, you're going through one of the hardest things you've ever been through. Yeah. Now you're sad. No shit. Like you got the full scoop. You have cancer. Like everything is fucking. Yeah. They took all your lady shit out. Like
it's all gone. Like, just hollow. Just a hollow hole down there. Really am.
You're just full of gases and
so much. So much. Like, gases. It's a big black hole. Just gases and like something like I think like my colon is floating.
It's just floating around.
I think the colon
floating.
Is still, but like with all of that too, what you're also going through is that for most people, there is something wrong with you if it is hard to reproduce. And what I mean by something wrong is that there is, whether, you don't have enough sperm or you don't have healthy sperm. Like we also started this off and my husband had 0 sperm and he had to go on medication for sperm and like, or your ovaries are jacked up or your uterus is full of polyps that's the other thing too. The fact that we don't know about our bodies until something's wrong. Like, you find out that you only have one fallopian tube. Like my fallopian tube was behind. I did not find this out until fertility because again, women's health is not prioritized and they don't let you figure this stuff out. So you're also learning a big part about you is broken. I don't really think that, but like it's broken in some way and you were made differently or something is not how it's supposed to be. So you're also dealing with that and then feeling guilty. Like my husband has never made me feel this way. But I can't tell you how guilty I am that my body has not allowed him to have a biological child or how guilty I feel that we've spent the last 4 years in our lives in grief and sadness and debt because of my body. Like, so you're also dealing with all of that and trying to navigate it. And you're lucky that nobody in your life has had to navigate this before because they're all healthy and that's wonderful. But then you're like, what am I doing? Which is again, why I think it's so important. And I thank you for like letting me speak about this in this place And I think it's really great that you want to speak about it and what you've been through as well, because there's so many people going through this, but they're kind of on their own islands. And it's really scary, and it's full of guilt. It's full of shame. It's full of anger and fear, and maybe a little bit of hope. And that little bit of hope is what's kind of like the candle that's keeping you flame just a little bit.
No, that's very true. I mean, but also, like, nobody's body is normal. You know, everyone is different. We're all our own special butterfly. Like,
Yes, we
and, like,
are.
we literally are. Like, we are all Frankenstein monsters of like genetic fucking whatever the fuck, and like we're all just trying to like figure out what's going on. Like the whole like normal. There is no normal. Nobody is normal. Everybody has something going on, whether it's a fertility thing or a heart thing or
Yes.
a colon thing or eyes or brain or neck or spine, whatever. Like nobody's got, no one's perfect.
No.
And we spend all this time hyper focusing on like, you got to be perfect, and if you're not perfect then you're fucking fucked. And but nobody's we're all fucked.
We're all fucked.
That's
what we need to be learning. That's what we need to be learning. We are all fucked, and we just have to figure out what type of fucked we are, so we can then manage that in whatever way we need to do. I fully agree.
Live a life that feels good. Like Courtney has PCOS, so that's why she wasn't able to get pregnant. So for people on here that don't know what PCOS is, it's your you are prone to like very painful explosive cysts on your ovaries, and your ovaries don't the eggs don't fall out of your ovaries. It's they call it like a pearl necklace, where your eggs just kind of like pop out like next to each other, and they just wrap around your ovary. And that's what Courtney has. And she was put on birth control when she was like 17 as that's the treatment for PCOS, to make you have your period. But nobody told her that that's why she went on birth control. So we didn't know that she had PCOS. We just thought she was just on birth control. So then she was like, I'm going to come off birth control now, and we're going to try for 4 years. But one of the things that happens with PCOS also is a wildly irregular period. So she would maybe she would have her period once every 3-4 months, or you know, like, or she would have her period for 3 weeks straight, or something fucking wild would happen, and we'd be like, what the fuck's this? How do we try to plan when you're ovulating if we can't even track your cycle?
Correct.
And then when we went to the fertility doctor, he was like, yeah, you have PCOS. You'll never be able to.
That's when she found out?
Yes.
What?
We found out in the fertility, our first like consultation with the fertility specialist. Like we like got our blood work done, and she got some fucking sonograms and stuff. And then he was like, oh yeah, you have PCOS. That's why. He was like, you can only get pregnant here in the clinic.
Yes.
And we were like, oh, really?
And how long had you been trying before
4
you
years.
went?
4 years naturally. Like hearing all these like from people, like all these tips and tricks, like you got to have sex upside down, like all this crazy stupid shit, and trying it all, like desperately trying all this stuff. And like, oh man, I'm about to get emotional now too, but like just like trying all this stuff that didn't work, and just like flailing through it, and just like to sit in a doctor's office and then just be like, oh yeah, you were put on birth control because that's how you treat PCOS. And then to watch her go like, what do you mean? And I'm like, what do you mean? What the fuck? Like, what do you mean? What do you mean? Like, you like, how do you not tell people
what they're diagnosed with?
Her gynecologist knew that she had PCOS.
Of course.
She didn't tell her, and then just gave her birth control without telling her why.
And then let her try naturally for 4 years, and not say like, oh, hey, maybe you should, like, that's heartbreaking, because those 4 years for you all had to have been exhausting, emotionally taxing. There had to be all of those negative emotions that we were talking about before. And then to find out, and then it sounds like, correct me if I'm wrong, once you did fertility treatments, it worked.
It did work, like not immediately. Like we had to go through.
Did you have multiple? Rounds. Okay, yeah.
For our first, it took 3, and then for Millie, it took twice.
Because
which
those are
is
failed
yeah.
things. That's so
And
hard.
it's hard, and it's such, and like we were talking about in the beginning and in the middle and whatever. It's so much harder on women. It's so much harder on women. I like watching her go through it, get
Mm.
hopeful, us getting hopeful, us like trying to plan. Maybe like I remember we like started to like we should make the baby's room now, and like I was like, I don't know if we should do that. We should wait, right? And just because it's just so like you don't know. It's so like we how do you commit to this space without, and it's like, and we did, we did, but like every time it was like, oh, did we do the right thing? Like, did we set this set this space aside for no reason? Is it just gonna go back to being an office? Like it's yeah,
It
it's a
sucks.
yeah,
That what you just said about a baby room, those are the other things too, that unless you like, I call them like fertility warriors. Unless you are a fertility warrior, you don't understand that that empty room in your house holds so much pain. We
yeah,
called ours, we have, we live in a small house and we have two bedrooms, and that one bedroom was always supposed to be a child's room. And then it slowly became what we call the no room, where we only threw like junk in there. The door was closed every single day. There were people who did not even realize we had that room. Like when
yeah,
we started like healing a little bit and talking about a nursery, they were like, oh, where is it going to be? Upstairs, which is my office right here. I was like, oh no, in the second room. And they're like, you have a second room? Because we did not open it. And I never, I dreamt of nurseries, and I dreamt of baby names, and and like that first embryo transfer, I was so excited because I really felt like I was pregnant. And then after that, everything just crumbled, and I never got excited again. And with adoption, I could get a phone call right now. Like I get a phone call right now that's just like, your baby was born, hop on a plane to Alabama and go pick it up. Right. So we had
right,
to be a little bit more, unlike infertility, unlike like fertility treatments, it's now just a when. It's not an if anymore, it's a when. And so we had to make a nursery, or we didn't have to, but we decided to. And
well,
the
that's
amount
exciting though, right?
it
Like that's
is,
very exciting. That's very different from
it,
what you went through. I mean, it's
it
it's
is.
it's its own bag of shit, obviously, but
But it is
yeah.
very exciting. But I also have recently been diagnosed, like legitimately diagnosed with PTSD because of like the trauma
Mm,
that all of this has been. And like I've had to really unpack it with my amazing therapist. And like I have an amazing personal trainer who helps me. Like I've surrounded myself with these amazing people who can help me through this stuff. But I really had to unpack it, of the fear that went around with like picking a nursery theme, or the fear of buying a crib. And like my husband and I are total opposites, which has been amazing. And he's like the steady, like logical one, and he just started buying stuff, which I'm so thankful for. Um, but yeah, everything you just said about that, the nursery, and the fear and wanting to protect yourself, but also wanting to like be hopeful and enjoy it at the same time. Like when
yeah.
did you get to a point, like did you get to a point with Courtney's first pregnancy that you were able to finally say like you could sit in it and enjoy it?
Yeah, after the, like, miscarriage risk was mostly over.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so that was what, like, that's like week, like, 14 or, like, week 16 or something.
Yeah.
Like, I remember being very hesitant to, like, even, like, pick names just
I'm
because it's
sure.
and especially, like, with Millie also, like, I was like, "I don't wanna talk about names yet," because, like, when at 2 weeks that you maybe have a fucking pregnancy, you're just like you're like, so maybe we should start planning, like, or maybe not, or maybe we, and I was the I was the hesitant one. Like, I don't think we should talk about names yet. I don't think we should,
Mhm.
you know, like just like trying to protect my emotional life. I'm very everything is on the surface, so like
Yeah,
I am very emotionally available, so it's just um as I know you are too, so
very
it's
much.
it creates like a maelstrom in my brain that
Yes.
won't ever stop, so it's like yeah, yeah,
It's very hard for me to be in the present. because of that, because I either I'm thinking about what happened afterwards, or I'm putting up walls. I don't even want to call them walls. I'm just putting up items or thinking about what could have happened and what could be, and how do I protect myself from this part of grief or from this or whatever. Like it's something I'm working on in therapy again, but it's really hard for me to be right here, right now. And I'm without catastrophizing, just because of what the last 4 years have brought me,
Yeah.
and our stuff. So I do get that a lot. And I am lucky to have a partner who really pushes me to say, like, no, we can enjoy this. Or when I'm getting maybe a little too excited about something, he also is the first one to be like, just remember there's risk associated with this
Yeah.
too,
Yeah.
because, you got to keep in check. And I'm very envious of the people who are able to get pregnant and have beautiful, amazing, healthy pregnancies, and they don't have any of this reality. But unfortunately, a lot of us do have this reality. So it's important to identify.
I agree. And I also want to let you know that we're over an hour.
Oh my goodness. Look at us go.
Holy shit. Yeah. So how you feeling? You want to?
I'm good. I'm whatever you want to do, Josh. I'm happy to
Okay.
stay.
Yeah.
I'm happy to close, whatever
Let's
you want.
let's talk for a few more minutes, and then
Sure.
I'll say bye-bye.
All right. Sounds good.
Which means I'm just gonna pop you into the lobby, and then I'll say bye to everybody, and then I want to
Okay.
yeah. All right. Cool. So the question that I normally ask at the end is, and I don't know if it's applicable to this conversation, but maybe it is. What I normally ask is, people like you that are operating at a high level in your industry, do you have any advice for people that want to get into your industry?
Hmm.
But I guess the question should really be, uh, a person that's been through what you've been through, what you're still handling and what you're still processing. Um, do you have any advice for people that are looking to start this type of planning for a family or go through these type of treatments? What is the thing that you wish you knew in advance that you could impart to try and make it go a little bit more smoothly?
Yeah. No, great question. One of the first things I tell anybody that will listen, especially women who are 30 or over, look into getting your eggs frozen if you are wanting to be a parent. And the biological clock is a real thing, and we shouldn't mean that we have to jump into a relationship or jump into a pregnancy or anything when we're not ready for it. Egg freezing, although we talked about like how intense it is, it's maybe 4 weeks of your life. And if you're not struggling with fertility, there's a really good chance that you're going to get a lot of beautiful eggs. And it's a wonderful insurance policy that's going to be sitting there that maybe you'll need one day or maybe you don't won't. I so wish that I had pushed harder to get my eggs frozen. I talked about it with my OBGYN. I talked about it when I was 30. My husband and I had just gotten engaged, and my OBGYN's amazing, but she was like, you're still young and you just got engaged and you're like all of that runaround. Well, little do we know what the hell was going on in my body.
Yeah.
And if I had a couple of more eggs frozen, I'm not saying that it would have changed my reality, but it would have given me a little bit more peace through it. So like, that's one thing that anybody who might watch this, who knows they really want to be a parent, or they at least want to have the option of being a parent one day, at least explore it. Your company probably just explore it. That would be one. The other one is that word resilience. I don't think I really understood it until I was in this process of what resilience is. And I think what you had said before, this word grace, I have lived so much in that word. And anybody who might start this path and find that they are in the fertility clinic, or they are trying for 5 months and it hasn't happened yet, give yourself grace. I was so much harder on myself than I needed to be. Nobody else was being as hard on me as that I was being on myself. And I wish I had learned to give myself grace and realize what I'm going through is very hard, and how I'm handling it, however that is the right way to handle it. And lean on the people who want you to lean on them, and accept the help that you wanted to accept. And that actually makes you way stronger than you think it does. Every fertility story is different, as we've seen with ours right here.
Yeah.
IVF does not always equal a baby. IUI does not always equal a baby. Infertility does not always equal IVF or IUI. There's other things. And like, there's every story is different, but each fertility story I find is a challenge in itself. And that's also if you get pregnant and you live in that fear, just give yourself grace. Give yourself grace and realize that you're doing such a good job. And if you're hard on yourself, it's going to make it a lot harder. Give yourself grace, love yourself, lean on people, and it's going to make it all a little bit more manageable. I wish I could go back 4 years ago and tell myself that.
That is some really good advice.
Thank you.
It really is. And it's only perspective that allows you to be able to speak like that. So
yeah,
I really appreciate that. And I really appreciate you being here.
I appreciate you wanting me to be here. It was wonderful. Thanks for chatting with me.
Of course. And I will talk to you soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Have a great rest of your night. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. And I'm just going to pop you back in the lobby.
Sounds good.
Okay.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you sticking around for what I feel is a really important conversation. I know I usually talk to like other actors or people that are in the entertainment industry, and we talk about, shit like that. But fertility is important to me, and it just so happened that a person that I knew and came up with went through a very as you all heard or you're watching now or whatever, a very intense version of it, but in my opinion has come out the other side spectacularly, in a way that I don't think a lot of people would have. So yes, thank you for being here, and I will see you next week on the live stream live. Thank you for watching, and I love you. Goodbye.